not really aware of what he's doing and how his teammates are receiving him. We're in Hollywood. This happens all the time. It was one of my biggest fears, actually, when I moved to Los Angeles. I was terrified of being labeled as a diva. I didn't want to be the person that, you know, people would say that she doesn't treat people well and, you know, doesn't take care of the people around her. I didn't want to be that person because that's not who I am. But it's very easy to fall into a space where you're just in your own world, in your own bubble. You have your own things going on. People do this when they're not in Hollywood. It's understandable. But when someone tells you, hey, you know, you gotta reel it back a little bit, because not only are you doing this, you're not performing well. There's a thing called flops in the movie business, superstars. You have a couple of these bad movies, you do a couple of these bad scripts, all of a sudden, are you really an A-lister? Are you really as good as we thought you were? Are you deserving of all these Maybelline commercials and things, red carpet appearances, talk shows? People start to question that. Whether it's fair or not, fair is fairs are Ferris wheels and fried Oreos. It's not fair, but it is what it is. So if you're going to live in this celebrity space, which at this point I feel Russ is in, you need to reel it back, because what's made you this star is your performance on the football field. And here's what's happening now. Because Nathaniel Hackett's been fired, because the disaster that was the Denver Broncos happened, however much pressure, however much criticism, however many questions there are about what the Broncos are going to do with Russell Wilson and what's going to happen with his career, however bad that is now, if this continues on to next year, it's like your fifth flop. And we're going to start re-examining everything else that Russ has done in his career. And all those quotes from former teammates in Seattle, and talks about how unaware he is that people are spiteful of his private office in the building and all of his parking spots. Little things matter when you're losing. I just think if this is going to work, it's all on Russell Wilson. That's not fair, but that's what happens when you trade 5 draft picks and pay someone a 5-year, $245 million contract. There's an exchange here. He's not volunteering. You're getting compensated, and they gave up a lot. They've mortgaged the entire future of the organization on Russell Wilson. So there's really no more space for any of the separation that has happened this year between Russ and the teammates, Russ and the team, Russ's image and brands and all that stuff. All that's got to be shelved. We talk about this all the time with young quarterbacks. Don't get too consumed in getting a brand. Your brands will build on its own, and mostly through winning and great play. And it will last because you're really good and people like to watch you play football. So then they will buy things that you sell, and then they will go to your appearances. All of that comes in time. I'm all for people making money. I'm interested in making money for what I do for a living. I certainly don't discourage anyone else to do that. But you also have to be aware of what that brand looks like when you're losing and costing other people jobs and other people the opportunity to make money. Nathaniel Hackett deserves his share of the blame in this situation, and I don't think it was the wrong choice to fire him. But next year, it's going to be all on Russell Wilson, and he's actually going to have to be all in. Joy Taylor in for Colin Cowherd today, and I will be back only on Speak tomorrow. Alex Curry's last New Year's. It can be fun depending on where you're going.
All right.
The fashions are fun, but it's just a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to have a good time on New Year's. That's really what it
Wear
is.
Sparkles, look good, have a good time.
I don't mind wearing the sparkles. It's the pressure to have a good time.
I love sparkles.
When normally I just have a good time.
Same.
Who did not have a good time, and a place where I have had many New Year's, is Miami. LeBron spoke about how he is interested in his career ending, which is not with all of this losing. They lost 112-98 to my Miami Heat last night. That is 5 of their last 6 that they have lost. Obviously, they're missing Anthony Davis in that time span and are now 14-21. They're the third worst team in the West. And here is LeBron on how things are going this year with the Lakers.
I'm a winner, and I want to win. Playing basketball at this level just to be playing basketball is not, it's not in my DNA. It's not in my DNA anymore. I don't want to finish my career, playing at this level from a team aspect. I must still be able to compete for championships because I know what I can still bring to any ball club with the right pieces.
I'm never going to doubt LeBron James. I'm not in the business of doubting LeBron James. Anthony Davis not being healthy is a big part of why they're struggling once again this year. But that said, I think at this point, you should assume there's going to be some point in the season with Anthony Davis on your roster where he is not healthy. He's just earned the right to be called an injury-prone player. It is what it is. Fair or not, again, I don't like to get into the fair conversation. The evidence points to he is not going to be available for a certain part of your season if he is on your roster. And you need to make accommodations for that. There was a point where we thought Russell Westbrook was going to be able to step up in that space. That has obviously not been the case. This roster is really no different than it was last year. It's just younger. What do you want LeBron to do? If you're the Los Angeles Lakers, what are you expecting of him? And why would you expect him not to be frustrated? Everything LeBron does is intentional in his entire career. That's why he's the star he is. He should be intentional. It's why, in my opinion, he's the greatest superstar we've ever seen in the history of sports. To be in the limelight from the time that he was 16 years old until now, to handle his career the way that he has, he's only polarizing, in my opinion, mostly because Michael Jordan exists, and we are arguing to the end of time about who's better. And we'll never find out. It's just a matter of opinion. He's not going to go out like this. And I don't blame him. And he should be putting pressure on the Lakers because he's not responsible for this roster. He's not the GM. He's not using that influence anymore. Did he use influence to get Anthony Davis here? Sure. That worked. They won a championship. That was the right move. Whatever you think of Anthony Davis, and I do not think he is a healthy enough player to be your number two, certainly good enough, but not healthy enough. They won a championship, so it was the right move. What are the moves since then? You have draft picks. Why are you white-knuckling to these draft picks in 2027 and 2029? We don't even know if there'll be beaches then. All right? Like, what are we talking about? That is a lifetime from now. It is a lifetime from now. Make the move. This is LeBron James. There's only one. I don't want this to end badly in Los Angeles. I think they're doing the best that they can with what they have. And what they have is not the responsibility of the coaching staff, of the players currently on the team. It's of the front office. Make a move. What are we doing? Who cares about these draft picks? At this point in the season, it's going to be difficult for them to even make the playoffs. That's not Lakers standards. I understand if you look at, the past decade, it kind of is. You win a championship or you don't make the playoffs, or it's a first round exit. It's got to be higher for the Lakers. And I feel LeBron, and I don't like watching him play in this kind of state. And whatever you think of LeBron James, we should want to be watching him play in competitive games. And this is just not of his making. And I understand his frustration. And I understand the frustration of Lakers fans because there's moves to be made and they're just not making them. And you're not fooling anybody and you're losing. So it's compounding here. I don't think LeBron is going to, I think he wants to play with Bronny. That's obviously not going to even be possible until 2024. So I think we have years left of LeBron, and he's certainly playing at a high enough level that this is not even a question. Similar to Tom Brady, I really don't, when they retire is when they retire. I think that Tom Brady's going to retire after this year. If he doesn't, whatever. He plays as long as he wants to. He's earned that right. But similarly with LeBron James, They want to be in competitive situations. The greats want to do that. LeBron is aware this is not a great situation. So let's make a move. Here's Alex Curry with the news.